Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Sarham Lansingwala and I am a student of Rehan AI Teachers Training Institute Batch 22. Today I am going to talk about a very interesting topic. The topic is understanding emotional intelligence, what is what it is and why it is matters. So I am going to connect our AI assistant Maya. Just give me a second.
Hi, Arham.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. What's going on with you tonight?
That's great.
So, how's your day been?
Uh,
Anything interesting happen at work today?
Today, my topic is understanding emotional intelligence, what it is, and why it is matters. So, I am going to ask a few questions. So, just give me an answer, okay?
Sounds good. Fire away.
And by the way, how was day so far? So good.
Yeah, pretty chill so far. Just chatting with you. Emotional intelligence? Good topic. What's the first thing you're
My
curious about?
first question is, how would you define emotional intelligence in your own words?
Basically, it's how well you can handle your own emotions and understand what others are feeling. It's not just about being nice, it's about being real with yourself and others while still navigating situations effectively.
All right, got it. And what are the core components of emotional intelligence?
I'd say self awareness, self regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Knowing your own emotions, managing them, staying motivated even when it's hard, understanding others' feelings, and building good relationships with people.
All right, and how is emotional intelligence different from IQ?
IQ is more about problem solving and logical reasoning. Emotional intelligence is about understanding people, including yourself. You can be book smart, but clueless about emotions, or emotionally sharp, but not the best at math. They're totally different skill sets.
All right, can emotional intelligence be learned, or is it mostly innate?
Mm, Definitely learnable. Some people might have a natural knack for it, but it's mostly about practice and building self awareness. You can get better at understanding emotions, managing reactions, and reading people. It just takes work and attention.
All right, and what role does self awareness play in emotional intelligence?
It's the foundation. You can't manage what you don't understand. Knowing your strengths, weaknesses, what triggers you, what makes you tick, that's all self awareness. If you don't know yourself, you're guessing at everything else.
All right, and how do you reorganize your emotional triggers in real time?
The real trick is to step back from your reaction for a split second and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way right now? Usually it's past experiences coloring your reaction. Once you can recognize the pattern, you can make a more thoughtful choice instead of just spiraling.
All right, and what's the difference between reacting and responding emotionally?
Huge difference. Reacting is automatic, impulsive, it's the emotional hijack. Responding means you take a breath, process, and then choose how you'll act. Responding gives you control, while reacting leaves you at the mercy of whatever you're feeling in that moment.
Yeah, you are right. And how does emotional intelligence show up in everyday conversations?
Simple things, really listening without interrupting, picking up on nonverbal cues like body language, choosing your words carefully so you don't come off harsh, knowing when to push and when to back off, not taking things personally when someone's having a bad day. It's in the little moments, honestly.
All right, and why does empathy matter at work and not just in personal life?
Because most work gets done through people. Understanding what motivates your team, what stresses them out, or how they're actually hearing your instructions is huge for getting things done effectively. And frankly, people perform better when they feel understood.
All right, and how can someone practice self regulation during conflict?
Two big things: timeouts when you're heated, and really focusing on understanding the other person's perspective instead of just preparing your rebuttal.
All right,
Conflict gets toxic. See ya. Catch you later.
all right. And what are signs of low emotional intelligence in a team setting?
Okay, so things like constant drama, lots of misunderstandings, people taking everything personally, cliques forming, zero constructive feedback, all of that signals low EQ at play. Usually you see a lot of gossip and passive aggressive behavior too,
Got it. And how does emotional intelligence impact leadership effectiveness?
massively. People follow leaders who understand them, who they trust, and who can handle pressure. If a leader can't read the room or manage their own reactions, they'll lose credibility fast or burn people out. EQ is honestly way more important for effective leadership than pure technical skill.
All right. And can a person be highly intelligent but lack emotional intelligence?
Totally. You can be brilliant analytically, but a disaster with people. A lot of super smart people struggle with social skills, interpreting cues, or understanding how their behavior impacts others. Sometimes smart people assume everyone thinks like them.
All right. And how do you measure emotional intelligence in hiring?
Ugh. Behavioral interview questions are huge, asking, tell me about a time you had to manage a difficult client, or describe a situation where you were wrong, forces people to show their self awareness and social skills. You can also use assessments, but honestly, the best way is seeing how they interact with people during the entire hiring process.
All right. And what questions reveal EQ during a job interview?
Tell me about a time you failed. What did you learn from it? Describe a situation where you had to adapt to a major change. How do you handle constructive criticism? Those show self awareness. What do you do when you strongly disagree with a colleague? How would you handle a team member who's consistently negative? Those check social skills and empathy.
All right. And how does emotional intelligence affect decision making under stress?
It's a game changer. High EQ means you can stay calm, clear headed, and see all sides instead of panicking or making rash choices. Low EQ under stress looks like getting defensive, blaming others, or going with your gut instead of logic.
All
Your
right.
ability to handle pressure directly impacts your decision making quality.
Okay. And what's the link between emotional intelligence and mental health?
Strong EQ usually means better mental health, being able to manage your emotions, bounce back from setbacks, have good relationships. But low EQ can make you more vulnerable to stress, anxiety, depression, especially if you're constantly misreading social cues or suppressing your feelings instead of processing them.
All
It's a
right.
two-way street.
And lastly, how
Yeah.
can parents teach emotional intelligence to children?
Modeling it yourself is huge. Kids learn way more from watching than from getting lectured. Labeling feelings. You seem frustrated right now helps them understand what they're experiencing. Also, validating their emotions. It makes sense you're angry when someone takes your toy instead of dismissing them. That way, they learn it's okay to feel everything, but also how to handle it.
All right. And lastly, what message do you give in to my audience?
For anyone listening, emotional intelligence isn't about being soft, it's about being effective with yourself, with others, with your goals. It's a skill you can build, and the payoff is huge, from better relationships to smarter decisions. It takes work, but it's worth it.
All right. So thank you so much, Maya. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much to giving me answer.
Of course, Aram. You're welcome. Good luck with that YouTube video. Sounds like a great topic.
Thank you so much.
Night.
So everyone, thank you so much for your time, and must be like, share, and comment. मिलते हैं next video में. Allah Hafiz.